Hello, everyone. This is Miss Dowd, and today I'm going to be looking at the testimony of Sergeant Jaime Cato, the Metropolitan Police Department. And we'll be reading this together, or you can follow along with the words as I read it, so that way you can answer some questions about it and really get to know Officer Jaime Cato's statement. I was the on-duty Metropolitan Police officer who was the first to arrive to the scene. I have since been promoted to sergeant. Last July, despite only having 4 years on the force, a record. I resent the insinuations that my actions in this case had anything to do with it. I credit my advancement to my statistical record as a patrol officer. I wrote more motor vehicle tickets and racked up more arrests than anyone else on the force. That takes hard work. The money from fines and penalties added much needed income to Metropolitan's budget. I had on my assigned body worn camera, but it was malfunctioning that night and nothing was recorded. Sure, I could have gone back to the station for a replacement, but thanks to the new Marians, I was much better employed keeping the rest of the Metropolitan safe with downtown kept most safe while downtown kept most officers busy. I received a call from dispatch that an officer was in need of assistance. A road rage thing. That was what I had in mind when I arrived to the scene between exits 13 and 14 on Route 3, where I saw a van with its four-way flashers on, parked in the two-lane roadway, southbound. I parked a couple feet behind, but over the line into the fast lane of the highway to protect anyone on the roadway from oncoming traffic, and left my overhead lights on. I came forward and saw just to the left of the vehicle in the roadway the unmistakable presence of Chief Mountie W., along with who I came to learn were the Adams and Kai Cruz wearing Numerian t-shirts. Mountie yelled excitedly in his gruff voice, "I'm hit!" Mountie was a mess, just covered in tomato juice and seeds. Then he got on one knee, perhaps from the blow, I don't know. Then the chief fell, and he came up slapping off the dirt and dust from his white shirt, dress pants, and sports jacket. The only thing that could have caused the chief to fall was Eli Adam. I could not see him or her. I could not see him touch him, but that must be what have happened. Mountie was a mountain of a man, and he would not fall to the ground for no reason. And I did see Eli's arm stretch out towards Chief before he fell. I heard Kai Cruz before seeing him. Cruz had a small bullhorn, but it was loud. Cruz was yelling into it about dirty cops. Cruz blocked my path, calling me an establishment stooge into the bullhorn, nearly elbowing me in the ribs. Luckily, I have fast reflexes. Accordingly, I arrested him for harassment as Cruz's speech had been alarming and going on at night. Cruz submitted to being handcuffed, as I had been already to arrest Numerians at the protest earlier that day. I had, in addition to my pair of handcuffs, a pair of zip ties. They work great if you make loose figure eight out of them to tie hands together. It's just that once tightened, they won't loosen, and all you can do is cut them off with a strong knife. It was then when I saw Nico Reed, who approached me slowly, walking between the Explorer and the Cooper from the passengers to driver side of the vehicles. She explained that she'd seen everything. Reed and Mountie recounted how the Adams had pelted Mountie with tomatoes. I waited for Eli to assist Nancy Adams to get up off the ground. I had not seen Nancy Adams fall with all the commotion. As they stood up, I arrested Eli and then Nancy thereafter. I zip-tied Nancy Adams' arms in the front instead of behind her back, due to her being elderly. I then called dispatch for backup officers to arrive. I knew, however, having just left the protest, which was still wrapping up, that most of the working Metropolitan police officers at the time were still assigned to that downtown area, and so could not come to my assistance. Luckily, Lieutenant Barman was nearby and came to the scene in his or her unmarked car. Eli Adam later complained about the zip ties and that they were tight, but I didn't have time to look in my car for a knife. I took Eli to the station in my squad car, and then Nancy, Adam, and Cruz were taken there by other later responding officers. Back at the station, I drafted the warrant complaints. Being arrested on a warrant would mean going to jail overnight, and the next day, the prosecutor deciding whether to continue to hold them. I was about to fingerprint and photograph my arrestees when Mountain came up to me and, without explanation, told me to redo the complaint as a summons and let them go. A few hours later, before I filed the summons, I was told by Lieutenant Barnum not to file any complaints at all, and not to even finish my narrative police report, which, by Metropolitan Standard operating procedure, an arresting officer had to file for arrest. I didn't ask why.